Howdy, Desert Boy here. Hey, today I'd go on and talk a little more about lever actions. It's always great to have lever actions around. They're pretty versatile. They generally, you can rack the action pretty quickly, and it's a good option. And sometimes you need a rifle, sometimes you need a carbine. One's a little longer barrel, got a little bit more capacity, and for me, I happen to like the 357 Magnum round a lot, but I also like the 38 round a lot. So, it just depends on what you need, and even the 38, plus P. Now, of course, when you're shooting various rounds in a lever action gun, you got to be cognizant of the tubular magazine and have the correct ammunition for it to be able to travel in the magazine tube without causing any issues with the primer in front of it. So that's just something you need to read up on and learn about. So you need to get the appropriate ammunition. But the nice thing about it is a 38, 357, 38 plus P, you can also have the opportunity to have a matching firearm, as those pistol caliber carbines allow you to have a firearm. Of course, nowadays there's even 9mm ones, but in this case, this is my 686 plus that I happen to be carrying on my Galco shoulder holster today. And it's we can see it's unloaded. It's got 7 rounds. It's about 36 ounces. It's pretty handy gun. It's got a red ramp front sight and adjustable rear sights, a 3-inch barrel. Now, if you're hunting, your state may require that you have one that has a longer barrel. Sometimes I think they have to be 4 inches or more, but you got to look at your specific rules. And just like with all things, you want to follow all your local, state, and federal firearms regulations, permits, CCW, and so forth, testing permits, and any CCW permitting and training that you need. It's appropriate for your area. So, but anyway, getting beyond that, getting back to the lever actions. So, the nice thing about pistol caliber carbines is you can oftentimes have a sidearm that has the same ammunition and that it can use the same ammunition. Now, for me, during the pandemic, I kind of I thought, well, if I got a lever action pistol caliber carbine, it would, be, a way to have a shorter firearm. This firearm right here by Henry is about 35 inches overall. It's got that nice octagon barrel. I know a lot of people are probably looking at it going, that's a desecration, having a optic magnifier and a red dot on there, which is a Bushnell TRS-25 and I think a UTG 3X magnifier, but it flips out of the way. But it did come in handy for my intended purpose, which was protecting my abode. And it's got a nice brass receiver. It's short, right? That's the nice thing about it. It does usually come with standard semi-buckhorn sights with a brass bead. And it's about, it's almost all these lever actions by Henry are right around 7 or 8 pounds. This one happens to be 7.76 pounds for a carbine. So it's pretty heavy because with this octagon barrel, it holds 7 rounds, so it's got, and it will shoot the 38 special and the 357 Magnum. So pretty powerful gun, depending on what your needs are. You have to choose which caliber you need, for what your intended purpose is for it. This one happens to have a large loop lever, which some people like. It's kind of a long throw there, but still really nice, very smooth. So I got this for some home defense during the pandemic. Later on, I took my 270 and I upgraded it, my Howa, where I could use 5 and 10 round magazines with it. And then eventually I said, well, I guess really for modern self-defense, that's how I ended up with the CZ Scorpion EVO S1 carbine in 9mm. So, you know, fully semi-automatic, you know, type of defense. But this is not a bad alternative, having a lever action a lot of times, or something like even a bolt action with magazines. But anyway, so this gun here, so like I said, 16.5-inch barrel, a little shorter, a little more maneuverable indoors, you know, and you got 7 rounds. If you happen to have a sidearm like I do, you know, you've got additional rounds. Now, I did go out at one point. I went to buy a, I decided, you know, it'd be nice to have a side gate loading. That's the one thing I did show you. Henry makes these with a side gate loader now. This one does not have one, as you can see. So it's a tubular magazine feed. I probably will not trade this or get rid of it to get one of those. It still fits my purposes. So one of the things I found out after I bought my 45 Colt R92 Rossi, like this one, right, which happens to be also a 38 Special 357 Magnum. These are made overseas. They are made in Brazil, and they have nice, decent hardwood, nice brass plate. Got semi-buckhorn sights as well with a brass bead. This one holds 10 rounds. It's a 20-inch barrel, right? And these are lighter. They're like 6.5 pounds, 6.5 pounds, something like that. Maybe even lighter. I think almost more like 6.2 pounds actually. And this is kind of the style rifle, the old 1892, I think, that the rifleman had. And they are very handy to use. I got the 45 Colt originally, and I liked it so much that when one of these came on, I saw one that was available in a 38 357. I said, you know, I'd like to have a rifle, plus it has a side gate loader, so I can load it from the side gate. Now the difference is with these, they are top ejectors, so you know there's not a place for a scope on top like you could do with maybe the Henry, right? A scope or red dot or whatever. But some people do put some kind of side mounting type scopes on these old style rifles, and that requires something kind of special for that. I think sometimes they also have like these little flip up tang sights that allow you to do long range and stuff like that. But anyway, very handy rifle, 10 rounds, lightweight, nice action. These do have kind of a, I consider it kind of a funky safety up here that I think a lot of people, I know probably for cowboy action shooting, people make changes to that. But for me, I don't have any reason to do that. So, and this one happens to be in stainless. So, you know, so you got to, like I said, you got different ammo. You got, you know, the 357 Magnum, which this one here happens to be a jacketed soft point, probably more suited for like hunting. This one here is a hollow point, more for self-defense. Or you can do things like this. Oops, I dropped the Winchester silver tip, but here's a Federal Punch Plus P. You know, provided it's safe to use in I use it in my revolver. I have to see if it's safe to use in my lever actions, because you want to make sure that it's nothing's touching the primer inside of it. That's why a lot of them have flat points, round nose, flat point ammunition for lever actions. And that's a 38 Special right there. So anyway, just a thought, you know, you might decide, well, you know, lever action's good enough for me. I don't need anything more than that. I want something that matches my pistol. I like revolvers. I've got a, you know, a 357 Magnum, and I'll work good with it. And for me, that's one thing I like. So, and if you're out in the woods, you know, you'll have to carry one ammo. So anyway, as Redesert Boy always says, be safe out there, whatever you're doing. And if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Like,